Alright, what's up, y'all? So as you can see, it is a nasty day out here. It's 4th of July weekend. So normally we would be avoiding the beach at all costs. But today with this weather, as bad as it is, it's the perfect time to do a little rock fishing or bridge fishing with some crabs. Not too much boat traffic out here, which is nice. It looks like it's going to rain here very shortly, so I'm going to try to make the most of this little weather window I got right now. Very little weather window I got right now. We're going to see. Can't come up with some fish. There's a big old piling up here. I've pulled some sheepshead off before. The wind is howling out here. It's going to be cold too. I'm probably going to have to tie myself off somehow. It's really tricky. We'll see what we can do. Best angle. We can make this one. Let's take a clench knot. Bob here. Half-ounce lobster. Low pressure system comes through like this, and it causes these fish's stomachs to expand due to the change of pressure. What that does is it causes them to bite less because they have an upset tummy. They want to keep an upset stomach, so you end up in this situation where they're kind of skittish to bite. They can't take nibbles. They don't really want to go at it like they normally do. So we're going to just entice them. We're going to crack this crab open. He's extra juicy for him looking right now. Man, he's not expecting to get bounced around as much as I am right now. Though. Golly. Kind of makes it dangerous. It's really just sensitive right now. I'm not really taking it. They just clean everything. Perfect crab right there. That's the size we like. He is healthy, he is active. That's what you want to see. Blast is called. You go straight through the hole. Straight out the back. The back's really hard, so you gotta kind of like, make your toes get that barb through. It's definitely a game. first. Gosh, thanks for the wake, buddy. Yeah. About to pull my leg off all these barnacles here. This isn't a citation sheepshead, but this is a solid dock doggy. I'll get a quick measurement on it here. I'm gonna speculate he's probably around 20. 18 and a half. So definitely a healthy specimen. Get a little picture here for the gram. And get them back in the water. Sometimes you just gotta go out and get those bridge monsters on a rainy day. That's a stud. That's a stud. Let's get him out of here. I got a cool little sheep. Hi, buddy. Thanks for playing. If we get a smaller one than that, we keep them. Yeah, I've been putting a herd on the sheepshead this summer because it's a pretty much my go-to kind of fishing in the summer when there's just really hot. There's not a lot else to do, and I've just had a good chance to get on it. So I've got plenty of fillets in the cooler. I don't need to be keeping a big one like that. When it comes to sheepshead, also, I like the little guys more. They got a little more teeth. They're not little, but they're easier to fillet. You know, something under like 18. Yeah, he took a good mud crab right down there where I was expecting him to be. Find out these pilings, there's only one on them. We're not gonna stay out here too much longer. This weather's getting really dicey. I'm gonna use thunderstorm. Probably up on there it is, actually, right there on the mainland. You see it now that I'm paying attention. But we got a bit of a bite going here. We've been baiting the spot, so let's stay on the spot. Let's see what other action's down here while we have a chance. And yeah, so we'll see what's going on. So that's really all it is. You're pretty much just dropping the crab down, and you're waiting for these really light pecks. They're just gonna nibble at it, and it's really just about getting that hook set with leverage. You find that you gotta like kind of feel them there, and your weight in your wrist. You're gonna just look at barely move from my rod when I start feeling those pecks. See if there's any weight behind it. Just see if there's maybe trash fish. Something smacked that on the way up. Even though there wasn't anything down there at the bottom. Let's see what's in the big column. Oh yeah, there they are. So pick it up a little bit, see if there's weight. Yeah, there's weight. Sit on the paper. Let's go. This is more of a keeper size. This is more what I like to see. Yeah. This is more of a keeper size. I might put this one in the cooler. Sorry about the foot. I got a little kayak here, so it can be tough. Watch out for those teeth. Size you're looking for right there. That's probably right at 15. It's a tasty size. Get a good fight on him. Throw him in the cooler just because you don't get these guys in the winter, so if I can start with one now. Right? Pretty much our situation here in North Carolina, unlike every other coastal state, is we have flounder, which is the best eating fish we have, are closed. Can't keep them. You have 1 month out of the year. It changes year to year. So last year we had different regulations, but this year the regulation is you have 1 month, September, where you're allowed to keep them. You get one a day, and it has to be over 15 inches. So pretty much our second best fishery here as far as eating fish go are these guys. These little meaty pork chops. They're delicious. So we're gonna bleed this guy out real quick. Get him in the cooler. I don't always bleed my fish. Certain fish I like to bleed more than others. I think sheepshead's definitely a good one if you want to bleed. If you want to eat them, it's a good one to bleed. Not always necessary, but they can have a bit more of a mouth bloodline. Spanish mackerel. Anything really oily like that, I always am going to bleed. Sheepshead, not particularly oily, just redfish is one I'm going to always bleed. Surprisingly, a lot more pressure boaters than I was expecting, but so stopped raining right now, but it was raining a good little bit when I came back and unloaded. Seems like it's just kind of weather windows going through. But so yeah, not a bad little session right there. Took advantage of the little weather window we had between these thunderstorms that have been coming through. It's really hot out here. It's probably like 85 right now, maybe 86. But yeah, so that was pretty much, that was sheepshead fishing for me. This is the setup we used. This is a custom Chunks Customs rod. I actually got this from the guy I learned everything about sheepshead fishing from. His name is Elias V Fishing. He has a YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. If you're watching this and you actually care about fishing, which I don't think there should be too many people who are watching this to learn anything. This is just kind of for fun for me. But if you are and you want to learn something, go watch Elias V Fishing. He is incredible. He taught me everything I know about sheepshead fishing. But so yeah, really short. This is only a 5-foot rod, but it's got a lot of backbone. Really subtle tip, so you can feel all those little bites. I got a 3000. This is just a light Daiwa. It works for me, you know, cheap reel, not too much going on there. 20-pound braid to a pretty short, about 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot long, 25-pound fluorocarbon leader. I get the abrasion resistant one because you really want that abrasion resistance when you're fishing around those docks. A lot of barnacles and stuff that you can get broken off on. And then just a bottom sweeper, for those of you who are not familiar with, it's just basically a jig head, but it's made for putting crabs on it. It sits perfectly at the bottom with the hook. Nice short shank. Those sheepshead have really crazy rough mouths. I'll show you all here in a little bit. So you need a nice firm hook to get those hook sets to stick. Nothing too crazy. Gets the job done like it did today. There is the rain back again, coming down now. So yeah, we just kind of took advantage. It was around 11:45. It was a high tide at I think 11:40. So I kind of just got out there right at the top of the high tide, pretty much for an hour. We were near the inlet on the back side of the beach, not too close to the inlet, a good little ways down, maybe a mile, probably 2 or 3 miles up from the inlet, just near a bridge where I've seen some sheepshead holding before. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You're just working that high tide, falling tide. Days like this when it's rainy, you know, out windy. It was crazy windy. Yeah, I'm sorry if the audio quality was absolute crap because that wind was blowing probably 20, 25, maybe 30 miles an hour out there at the end. It was really gusting. Days like this are good for that kind of deep water fishing, docks and bridges. Because it's the middle of the summer, normally I avoid those areas, but boat traffic is heavy. There's a lot of pleasure boaters out there and stuff. Creates a lot of wake. It's a pretty stressful environment, but on a day like today, generally there's not too many of them. There's still a good bit out there because it's 4th of July weekend, so that's inevitable. But no, it really is a lot better optimal conditions for fishing like that kind of situation. That low pressure system just came through like a day or two ago. Fish want to go in deeper water. They want to hang out around somewhere safe like structure. Those predatory, those bigger fish come out more. They want to, you know, kind of take advantage of the situation. So it was a good chance for me. I was hoping a big drum might come through, black drum, maybe a red drum, but not today. Did get on a good sheepshead bite though, so not too bad. We'll do a little filleting video. I'll show you how I clean it here in a little bit, and maybe do a little cooking it up. See what we can do here. But so yeah, that's pretty much it. Good eater size, little bucktooth boy. Yeah, they're pretty crazy fish. A lot of fun to catch. This is the smaller one of the day, but let the big guy go as a lot of. Show you guys how I fillet this guy right here. These are a tricky fish to fillet, so I'm definitely not, by no means a professional at it, but I've kind of done it a couple times now, so I think I got a little trick to it. You need a nice, sharp, bendable knife, fillet knife, and a sharp, heavy duty knife. Maybe you can just get it done with this one if you're good enough at it. So the trick with these fish, they've got a lot of scales, dense, hard to cut through scales, and they got a very, very big rib cage going right around here to the anal fin. So you kind of really can only get meat from the back in this area here. They got a lot of meat up in their cranium here, and if you really want to go wild, there's a lot of meat in their cheekbones here because they got these. So trick with these guys, what I do generally, I'm holding them with one hand. I like to put like a paper towel or something down just to stop that slime from sliding everywhere. Got some better light in here for you guys, so we'll do it over here. So trick with these fish is right here where the fin meets the scales. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a little slit there. That is where you insert your knife. So that little slit right there is what you want to start at. I tend to go backwards, down along his back like this, going with the scales, feeling along the spine there. We'll go back up here before we go any further. And we'll just kind of work our way into this forehead region, like, ooh, coming over to the other side there. Whoops. There we go. All the way up, pretty much to the eyebrow. Just meat all the way up in there. I'm going to use this nice bendable fillet knife. I'm going to go right over the spine, pop it out the back down here, and then just making sure the blade just kind of rides that backbone all the way down to the tail. Right. I missed a little meat there, so that's not my best job on the belly side, but like I said, I am by no means a professional, especially with these fish. These are tricky fish to fillet. So we're hitting his rib cage now. There's a couple different ways to do this here. So you can either come up kind of through the forehead here, cut it right here, and start working your way down along them, like that. Or what I think I'm going to do in this case, so I'm going to hit them with a little scaling action, just kind of move the scales back a little bit right there, and a little bit. You want to kind of remove these scales here if you can. Just enough so my big blade can go right through that. Now, some people might have a very sharp blade, they don't need to do that, but mine's a little bit dull, so. And then we're just gonna come right up to where we had the forehead meet right there. I'm just kind of going around the gill plate. You're likely gonna have to end up cutting through the rib cage with that knife. With this big knife, you're just gonna kind of yep, so there you just cut right through that. And then down here, let's get a couple of these scales removed here. Just like that. I'm just gonna meet with your slice right here. So now I'm just gonna switch kind of back over and just clean up so I can remove this from the fish. So once you remove that, there's gonna be bones all along here. Clean off any scales or anything that's on it, obviously. So there's gonna be these rib bones right there. So what I like to do is kind of just make an incision right like this. Kind of get these, there's gonna be some like pin bones up in here in this area, but I bled this fish, so normally there's a good bloodline here, but as you can see, it's really not too pronounced in this case. So you're just gonna do a little cut like that. Still has the skin on it, so it's gonna be attached, so we're not gonna worry about that right now. You're just gonna do this right here. Holding on to the tail, pushing your knife down, slow, steady motions. There you go. And then this just pulls right off. So, nice pretty fillet here. We'll go ahead and get that on a plate. There you go, you got one side off. I didn't do a super great job up here because I went over to the wrong side. Also down here on the belly, I left a good little bit of meat right there. I could have gotten closer to that fin. But for the most part, it's not too bad. You can't do anything about this. You know, so you work with what you can get, so. All right, side number 2. Same thing, you got your slit here in the back, right in, and away we go. I don't like to go too far down, and you want to make sure you're not, you know, getting far away from this back. So it's kind of hard to make sure you don't come up out and get a wrong cut. So now we're back here, past the back fins. I'm just gonna pop it right over that backbone and right there. A little better on that one. So right there, we just kind of came right up. Got some of that good forehead meat. So So that was what we can there. Kind of got this little flap I missed somehow. So same game, just a little bit of this action. So let's find our incision right here. We're gonna just work our way around the head. See, the big ones, if you have a big one, those ribs get really thick, these scales get really hard. This becomes a serious challenge. This is why I tend to fish under 18, 20 inches. Also just, you know, for the good of the species and maintaining a healthy reproductive biome for these fish to be successful and flourish. You want to return those bigger, you know, breeding fish. These little guys, it's not as bad to take them. So, a lot of reasons. Just pulls away. And we can just slice that. And I'll probably have to do a little more of those. There we go. So, another nice fillet there. That one was a good bit better that time as far as getting all the meat. Kind of did a little weird thing here on the forehead because of where I crossed over, but these bones, same thing. Try to, you know, little incision, put your finger down, and just make sure that knife is angled down. Slide it all the way out. That comes right out, and there is your lovely sheepshead fillets. So bada bing, there you go. You got your 2 sheepshead fillets. You can fry these, pan sear them. Personally, what I think I'm gonna do with these ones is we're gonna do a little poor man's lobster roll. This fish eats exclusively crustaceans and barnacles and oysters and clams and anything shellfish-like, which means this is a very shellfish-flavored meat, which means it works perfect for, you know, crab meat substitutes, something like that. It's very firm when cooked. It holds up well, and it can be used pretty well in a in a poor man's lobster roll. So I'll show you guys how I do that here in a little bit. We'll go ahead and throw some salt on these guys and put them in the fridge for a little while and just let them hang out. One thing I will say is I'm not going to rinse these off. These are saltwater fish. I've been told you don't want to rinse off a saltwater fish in fresh water. The meat, you can, you know, rinse off the fish itself, it won't break down, but you don't want to rinse off the meat. It'll start breaking down the enzymes and it'll start to break down. So throw a little salt on this guy and put him in the fridge. Lovely. So we got our lovely sheepshead fillets here. I'm gonna do a quick little simple dish. It's essentially just a lobster roll. It's called poor man's lobster roll, except for we're gonna use sheepshead instead of lobster. And this is a pretty easy recipe to make, just to keep it quick and simple. You just got your top sliced hot dog buns here, used for brats and stuff like that. And then you'll just need obviously your fillets and then a couple other ingredients in your sauce mix. First thing I'm doing is getting a pot of water, bring it up to boil, put it on high. So I'm gonna go ahead and chunk this up. Keep it not too small, but not too big of pieces either. That should be fine. If you want it to go quicker, you can cut them even smaller. So, I thought my GoPro was recording, but apparently it was not, so we actually missed this part. But we went ahead and poached these fish chunks. Only takes a couple of minutes once you have the water boiling. These smaller pieces, obviously these come out first. You just want to make sure it's cooked all the way through, and then you put it on a paper towel over a rack of some sort to let it dry out. And we're going to let it cool down here for a little bit before we go ahead and put it in the fridge to cool all the way down before we can make our mix. But yeah, it's nice,
firm pieces of meat. They hold up really well. They don't really fall apart in the boiling water, so that's why sheepshead is really convenient for this dish. We are kind of getting our stuff together here to make our mix, which is pretty much just mayonnaise and mustard. Not only as much mustard and only as much mayonnaise as you need. You don't want to go too heavy. I like to do a little lemon juice, a couple spices, some paprika, some Old Bay, a little salt and pepper, and then like a stalk of celery. And if you have fresh parsley, also that's really nice to include. I just don't have any right now. So we'll go ahead and dice this up, mix all these ingredients together. Also, it's nice to add a little splash of apple cider vinegar. Another thing I don't have right now, but we'll go ahead and get that mixed up while our fish cools down, and then we'll be ready to assemble everything. So we got our bun right here. I actually started before showing you all this. So you got your top sliced buns. You want to pinch it open and just kind of pinch in those sides so you can make a little cavity there. And then buttered it. Put a nice little layer of butter on both the insides, and you're gonna put it in there and just toast it. Get a nice golden brown. I got some French fries I'm also gonna throw in there in this is our air fryer. My camera was kind of messing up, so it didn't get the actual making of this mixture right here, but this is essentially just, you can see, chopped up celery, and then in a little bit of mayo. I think I do probably 2 parts mayo, maybe 3 parts mayo to 1 part mustard, a splash of lemon juice. Pretty much everything else you kind of just season it to taste, depending on what you're really looking for. That's what you're looking for. We got our sheepshead here. So I seasoned this with a little salt and pepper before putting and a little Old Bay before putting it in the fridge. And it is nice and cold now. A cooler temperature will also help. That'll help firm up the meat. Got a little mini mixing bowl here. We'll just take some of these chunks and you're just gonna kind of pull it apart, kind of just shred them so they look like nice little chunks of crab meat, basically. That is what we're going for here. So they kind of just pull apart nice and easy. So there you go. And then you're gonna want to go ahead and, depending on how much, you don't want to do too much sauce, honestly. Less is more. It's kind of like putting salad dressing on a salad. You can always go back and add more. And then you kind of just want to lightly toss it together. Let's do another spoonful. Just kind of gently fold that dressing into the fish. It's nice and evenly coated. Right on time. Just taste. Yeah, nice crunchy celery. Nice firm meat. Tangy. One thing I want to do is add just a little splash of hot sauce here because I like it a little spicier. We got our nice toasted golden bun here, buttery, delicious bun. And we got our nice mix of poor man's lobster roll here. And we're just gonna load it on up, you know. When I used to work in the kitchen, I used to work in a restaurant here near the beach. We had lobster roll on the menu, and when I used to make the lobster rolls, you know, they would be ridiculously expensive, like $16 a piece. But my chef would always have me load them up with just heaps of crab meat. So, you know, people were getting the most bang for their buck, but you end up with a really overfilled sandwich. But you know, it's fun to eat it that way, and that's kind of the style of a lobster roll, you know. So let's get all this celery sauce goodness on there. So boom, that's pretty much it right there. That is what you're looking for. That is a beautiful lobster roll. I'll go ahead and get these fries ready, and then I'm gonna dig in, but I don't think you guys need to see me eating it because I will assure you it is delicious. So yeah, real easy dish. and it tastes just like imitation crab meat. That fish has a lot of crabby flavors to it, nice firm consistency. It's a really interesting fish to eat. It's a fun fish to catch. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.